Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode number 36 of Lead to Greatness, where we believe in helping others reach their greatest potential, and together we can change the world. Today on Lead to Greatness, we have Eric Malzone. Eric is the founder of 6 different businesses. Eric also interviewed over 600 professionals all over the world. Today on Lead to Greatness, Eric discussed how to have a healthy relationship with failure, not just in business, but in your life.
This is Cedric Francis, and you're listening to Lead to Greatness.
What qualities do I see them that I believe make people successful in business and entrepreneurship? And one of them, I think number one, and I think it's universally across the board with anybody who has some sort of high level of influence or has made an impact, is that they have a healthy relationship with failure. And as if you're in business for yourself, or you're taking that leap, or you're a leader, you just failure is part of life. It's just what it is, and you can either take it as a stepping stone, or you could take it as a roadblock. And that's, I think, something I learned early on. It's like, hey, I'm going to lose, but if I can just somehow scratch my way to a winning season, then then that's all good, right? But even then, if you have a bad season, doesn't mean that next season is going to be bad either. So you just kind of have to keep forward facing and learning and growing, and accepting that failure is actually a blessing at many points. It's hard to accept nowadays. When I get hit hard with something, maybe in business or life, not immediately, I'll take probably a certain amount of time to just be grumpy and woe is me. But eventually I kind of come to the point, like, there's going to be something good that comes about this. I'm just not sure what it is yet, because life has taught me along the way that that's the way it goes.
What got you to the point where you finally accept that and use and say, you know what, this could actually be beneficial to me?
Yeah, it's a really good question. My high school water polo team, shout out to Bellarmine in San Jose. We were absolute powerhouses, in the national conversation most years, definitely in the state or local conversation for winning. And my senior year, when I was captain, there was a lot of pressure to kind of keep up that tradition, right? And we went out and we lost in the first round of states,
Mm.
and it was humiliating. I had like people who had graduated being there. My brother was there to play, like everybody. It was just really kind of, we lost in the first round. It was like no one thought that was going to happen, and we did. And it was kind of fell on my shoulders, because as the captain, it was my fault. Now 2 days later, we ended up playing our local rivals, which everyone thought, oh, these guys are, Bellarmine's not going to do well, we're going to lose. And it's so fun. I feel like a high school hero right now. But what happened was we ended up coming out and winning that game. And I had the best game of probably my high school career doing it. I defended probably the best player in the league, shut him down, end up scoring the winning shot, like all of that stuff, right? It was just this come in, and that gave me so much more confidence to go through the rest of the season, and we just dominated the rest of the way. And it just taught me that, every loss, that particular one was so heavy at the time, and it's meaningless now. I look back, I'm like, who cares, right? But it really, at that time, I cared a lot. And that was something where I'm like, okay, you gotta literally get up, dust off your shoulders, figure out what went wrong, and let it motivate you instead of just kind of sulking about it. So I think that was probably a critical moment. But definitely in business lessons, once I went into business for myself, it was all about, man, you're gonna try new things, you're gonna fail, and that's okay. Don't worry about the critics. You just got to try again and tweak and learn. And I think that's you know, where most of it was learned in, probably 2008 and beyond. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess I want to clarify too for your audience, is I don't think you should actively pursue failure. I think I think there's an interesting. I had this he's a client, but he's a good friend. He was on one of my podcasts, and Dr. Sean Pastuch at Active Life RX, and he had a really good point. He's like, once you figure out what direction you want to go in, once you pick a lane, right? Like, okay, this is the business, this is the goal, or this is the marathon that I want to run, like whatever it is, once you pick the lane, then failure isn't even failure anymore. It's just trials. It's like a trial period. Like, okay, I'm going to try this, and then I'm going to see if it works, and then I'm going to tweak what I need to, and then I'm going to try again. And you're kind of just continually moving forward along that line. You don't want to fail. You don't want to, but you got to just realize it's part of the process. So there's a line there. I don't want people to go out and be like, Eric said, go fail at something.
Right.
Well, I mean, if it's low risk, yeah, sure. Why not? Right. Go be a beginner at something. I think that's great too. So always having that thing where you're learning something new and get to put yourself in the beginner position is really important constantly through life. So yeah, man, it's a complicated thing, but I think, people have to understand and be, number one, aware of what your relationship with failure is. Do you fear it like death, or do you kind of don't want to do it, but you're willing to go through it for the greater good? I think that's kind of where you want to be.
So what inspired you to begin that journey in fitness, and why?
Yeah. So, you look at gym owners, let's just say, I think there's two distinct types. There's people who have a business background who want to get into gym ownership, and there's fitness professionals who are maybe trainers or coaches, and they decide, well, this is the next logical step in my career, is to open my own facility. I came at it from having a little bit of a business background, business education, and then having to learn the fitness side of it. I mean, granted, I had been around sports and athletics my whole life. The weight room I was extremely at home in, and I knew well. So that part was fairly easy. But really what the impetus is that, during a national sales conference for my previous job in the corporate world, was I kind of just I was actually there getting an award for, top 3. And I was, happy about that. But I started looking forward, and I'm like, if I stay on this career path, I don't like where this is going. I don't like what my life is going to look like. I don't like that lifestyle. I'm not good in the corporate setting. I'm actually a terrible employee. But I got the job done, but I must have been frustrating as heck for all of my managers. So I think what happened was I realized I needed to do something on my own. And the text message from an old teammate, Trevor, at the timely, literally just incredibly timely, it was just, I'm like, that's it. That sounds great. I want to do that. And I had been doing CrossFit in San Francisco. I had seen the significant growth of Lane Fitness. And, I'm like, I can do this. There's a framework I have for making decisions like this. I call them BSD, big, scary decisions, right? The first thing you ask yourself when you're thinking about making a big move is, what's the worst thing that can happen? Right. And then I'm like, well, the worst thing that can happen here is that, we could start this gym. We don't make any money for a while. I have to sleep on the gym, at the gym. And then if that doesn't go well, then I have to go get a job. Next question I asked myself was, well, 10 years from now, will I regret not having tried? And that's the most powerful one. I'm like, well, if I don't try now, if I don't get out and I don't try, then what's going to happen? I probably won't ever. So I gotta do it now. I was 30. So I think that was and the third question, by the way, in case people are wondering, is what's the tiniest first step I can do today to move in that direction?
Wow.
So that was kind of it. It was really just right timing with the right person. And that was it.
Wow, that is awesome. Wow, great question. Great question. Great questions. You said something. You said, you talked about you starting in fitness, and you understood a little bit about business, and really that's a plus for you. What do you say to the person that has the passion and has the talent for the business, but don't have any business skills?
One of two things: either find a partner who does, or get a mentor.
Yeah. Wow.
Because you're gonna, you can learn on your own, but nowadays there's no need to. There's plenty of people there's plenty of business coaches and mentors out there that you can lean on, and there's a lot of people who are willing to help. So the thing is about, if people have started and grown a business, they understand how challenging it can be, and most of the time they're willing to help people who want to go down that same path. So I think that's it. Is either, if you don't like the quote unquote business side of things, then get somebody who does, because there are a lot of people out there who actually love it, right? And form that partnership and, leverage each other's strengths, or find somebody, or if you're eager to learn that side of things, find someone who can teach you.
Wow. Awesome, awesome. Dang, why, man, that's a knowledge bomb right there. Knowledge bomb. Listen, listen, listen. Get someone to help you. And the reason why I want to go back to that, Eric, because I know a lot of people, they can cook. I mean, somebody they can barbecue real good, or they can cook, whatever type of food. And they can cook and they start a business, but don't know anything about business. And the business lasts 6 to 8 months and it's over with. And it wasn't over because of the food wasn't good. I mean, because there's some restaurants that I won't call the name. Their food is not that great, very successful, So it's like that's why I wanted to go back to that question because you said you knew business, and I think that's a great thing to have. But for someone that don't have that, and you have to get somebody definitely to help you out because I've seen some great. I'm talking great potential. But they didn't have the right partner. So I mean, that's awesome. Get the right partner. Get somebody to partner with you, and even the fact on some people want to do it alone. People want
Yeah.
to. I don't need nobody. I want to do it on my own. Before we move on, what's your thought on that?
I mean, there's no reason to do things on your own. I mean, I don't know. I guess everyone's different. For me, I like working on a team. I like being mentored. I like mentoring,
Yeah,
uh, and I just generally really like to help people. And I just think if you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not willing to learn from somebody who's just maybe a few steps ahead or more on the same path that you want to be. It's just common sense. I mean, sure, hey, if you like to self-flagellate, then great, do it. If you like going through more pain and suffering than you need to, then by all means, I think that's great. But it's not my preferred method.
yeah, absolutely. Not mine either. Thank you for that, Eric. What would you say the most exciting part about what you do?
Through and through, I am still a business development guy. I like new things. I like new challenges. If anything gets into what feels like status quo, where it's like, okay, it's the same recipe I'm cooking every week, and I'm just going to do this for the next 5 years, I get anxious. I get antsy. I got to move. I got to try new things. So, what in two sides of my life right now professionally, well, three, I got podcasting, I got business coaching and mentoring, and then I have, business development for a fitness tech startup. All three of those things are extremely dynamic. I constantly, we were talking about this earlier, like constantly learning through the podcast, right? And meet new people. It's awesome. It's exciting. I like that newness in education. Um, from my business coaching aspect of things, I love that every call I'm tackling a unique challenge and helping people and getting creative with that. So it's a blessing. I'm so lucky that I get to do that for a living. And then of course on the other side of things, that I'm actually in the trenches on the business development side for this startup where, forming strategic partnerships, looking at the market, selling, all of it. So I think my favorite and the thing I'm super happy about is the variety of it all. Uh, I'm never bored. I may be stressed at times, but hey, I am never bored. That is for sure.
Uh, for somebody that had that creative mindset, they like to get things going, but sometimes, with that, being that type of person, sometimes you may feel like, man, am I doing too much? Am I, you feel all over the place. I mean, so how would you help someone, a listener that just feel like they all over the place, because they have that creative mindset. They love to create, but they get bored real easy once things get going.
Yeah, that's it's tough because Cedric is so different. Everyone has different values and skill sets, and maybe whatever there's different names for a unique ability, um, superpower, right? Zone of genius. Like you hear all of these terms, everyone kind of has their thing that they're really good at. If you don't know what it is yet, I would really urge you to start exploring into what that is and trying to understand the value that you bring to, organizations or just partnerships or just life in general. Um, but for those who are multi-potentialites, I guess is what you
I
could
love
call
it.
it,
I
right?
love it.
Yeah, I got that from somebody else. I
I
give them
love
credit.
it.
I can't remember who it was. Fit Crazy podcast. So you can look him up. You know, I look at this way. Eric Carlson is a really, he's someone who I get some, you know, he's a friend, but I also go to him with probably, he's a very, very well-known digital marketer, you know, he does really well. But the way he looks at it is this, is like, he always likes to have three things going on at once. And I'm very similar. I just listed three things, but I think one of those things should take up 60% of your time and energy. So, you know, if you do like to have multiple things going on, you are kind of a self-starter, you like to have new challenges. But if you're not, if you're a status quo person, you just like to get in a routine and stay consistent with it. I think there's a lot of benefit to that too, because hey, people like me need people like that. Right. So, you know, understanding your value, but also if you are like me, I would say just have, you know, try to limit it to three things, but give one of those things the majority of your time, about 60% and 20% to the other two, just kind of give a visualization. I think that's a good rule to kind of strive for.
Wow, man, Eric, that's a knowledge bomb. That's a knowledge bomb that you feel. What is the greatest book that you think people should read to grow as a leader?
Yeah. You know, I have to say the one that, and this will give it away, but I had in my office at the gym, I had the Pyramid of Excellence behind my desk. And I would constantly jokingly sometimes just get a long, you know, a 2-foot wooden stick and point at things when I was talking to people in my office. So John Wooden, the great coach, John Wooden, if you haven't read any of his stuff, it's really good. You know, I think one that is probably a good, all of his books are fantastic. His lessons are consistent, but you always learn something because he'll put it into a new story. But one, the Lifetime Observations and Reflections on and Off the Court by John Wooden was excellent. Really, really good. I think that gives you so many lessons as far as what makes a great leadership and a great leader. And I would probably start there. And there's all the other ones too. You know, It Starts With Why, and Phil Jackson's books, and there's a ton of them, but I would start with Wooden. I think he's the all-time best at leadership.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
You know, so what is your definition of a healthy life?
Yeah. Oof. You know, that's a powerful question. You know, I think having a healthy life, I mean, you can look at it from the physical, mental, spiritual area, right? You kind of have to check all those boxes. And I'm not a church going person, but I do contemplate my mortality rather daily. And I think that's important too. If you're not asking yourself, like, what does happen after we die? You're like, I know it's a heavy question, but you got to think about that stuff. So I think health is kind of a combination of all of it, but it really starts upstairs. I mean, if you can, you know, get things in order with how you talk to yourself. And it's an interesting thing. Like, if you ask people in the room, like, hey, who do you talk to the most every day? People be like, oh, my spouse or my kid, my business partner, right? Be like, no, you talk to yourself.
Oh man, that is
all day long.
That is so true.
Right. So you start with the voices in your head that dictates what you do in life, and your stress levels, and how you eat, and how you move, and your relationships. So I think really health starts upstairs, and having a healthy relationship with yourself, and everything else has less friction as you move forward in other areas. So I think that's probably where I would start it, you know, is there.
What are some leadership growth tips, tools, advice that you can share with the Lead to Greatness community to help us reach our greatest potential?
Probably cliched at this point, but I do think having a morning routine that prepares you for the work you want to do, that puts you in a state of intention. You know, intention is something a lot of people walk around with not having any. I mean, even if I ask most people, hey, what is, you know, what is your 25, 50-year life goal, right? People won't have that. And, you know, for me, I have a very consistent morning routine. It gets me ready. By the time it's done, I feel ready, right? Like I'm gonna, and I know what I want to get done that day, and I get it done as early as I can. And then I'm able to focus on other things, you know? that are maybe not critical but still important to me are things that, just kind of screwing off, right? Maybe I just want to go ski that afternoon. So I think having a really solid daily routine that focuses your intention on what you want, and understanding that, what is the end goal of what you're doing. One of the greatest analogies I use all the time, and once again, I'll credit him, but I don't know what it is. If a plane takes off from San Francisco and it's going to Boston, right? Uh, what percentage of time in that 4-hour flight is it actually on course? The answer is roughly 8%. So that means 92% of the time it's course correcting. And that's life, right? If you don't know where your plane is going, then how are you going to course correct? And I think that's something that, and that goes, if you're a leader and you're leading a team, if you can clearly explain what the end goal is and understand that, hey, and you use that analogy, like, hey, we're going to be course correcting often, but this is where we're going, right? Like the team I just joined for this Morpheus, the fitness tech, we all met together in Seattle a few weeks ago, and we're like, where's this plane going, right? Well, we're going a $500 million exit. Like that's where we're going. We're like, we don't know how to get there yet, but we all agree that's where this plane's going, right? And you set that intention, and then you remind yourself daily of where you want to go. And I think that's probably a key to leadership, and then sharing it with your team.
Wow, I love that. I love that. That's some listener today, they never heard of a morning routine, don't know what it is. So what does your morning routine looks like?
Yep. So I wake up generally anywhere between 5:30 and 6:30. My alarm set at 6:30, but generally wake up before. I take my morning HRV reading, which is part of the technology that I'm doing. So I have to sit in bed still for about 2.5 minutes while I take this reading, and it gives me my recovery score. Then I get into a cold shower. I take an ice cold shower every morning for about 8 to 10 minutes, and I got my routine through there. I get out, I start the coffee maker, I drink my green shake, I meditate for 10 minutes. By the time I come out, my coffee is ready. I have my notebook. I flip the page over. I take all the things I didn't get done the day before. I move them to the new page. I list the things that I want. I star the top 3 things that are the most important for that day. And I try to get those done before I start my meetings by 8 or 9. And I say hello to my wife, of course, and I wake her up with some coffee if I can.
And what has this routine done for you?
To be quite honest, the cold shower thing was something I was introduced to by Jake Burleson, who's a local and world-renowned tattoo artist here. He kind of introduced me to it along with some Wim Hof breathing. I may seem calm to most people, but I'm actually pretty anxious.
Really?
Most mornings. Yeah, I have had some kind of traumatic things happen back in 2016, and I just haven't really been able to shake it. And I never wanted to take medication. I never want to do anything like that. But the one thing that helped me shake the morning, 'cause I'll just wake up anxious. I don't know why. Everything's fine. But when I take these cold showers, it seems to do something to my central nervous system that I feel relaxed, which people are like, well, cold shower doesn't sound relaxing at all. It helps me.
Really?
And, just puts me in this state of alertness and kind of shocks me out of it and breaks a pattern. So for me, it's extremely useful from kind of just a self medication standpoint. But I think a lot of people who, do these types of things, they have their own benefits, right? But I'm there is science behind it. So I think that's kind of a big one for me. I need to get my head right.
So when you get in these cold showers, just curious. So when you get in these cold showers, do you gradually turn it to cold, or
No, man, I'm all in.
Oh man,
I'm all in. Yeah, I'm all in.
like
I
jumping
do
in the pool
30.
without-
I do 30 deep or in fast inhalations, and people know who Wim Hof is. I do 1 round of Wim Hof breathing. I start to kind of get everything going, and then I go right in, man. And honestly, after the first 30 seconds, it's just not that bad. It's just the first 30 seconds, and then I kind of,
The 30
I'm
seconds.
gonna
30
brush my
seconds is a long
teeth.
time. Hey,
You
you ran through
get
that like
used to
30
it.
seconds is real short. 30 seconds, that's a long time.
I think I have an advantage because I have been jumping in cold swimming pools for a lot of my life early in the morning. So maybe there's something, I don't know, but it's not that bad.
I
Once
love
you get
it.
used to it, just like anything else, it's
I
just
love
water.
I
It's
love
not
it.
gonna kill you.
And that's actually interesting because this is the thing. A lot of time, I'm just saying me, for example, when I get in the shower in the morning, I let the water get comfortable to my body before I get in. So, and I'm listening to you. I'm like, man, so I'm really getting into the water, and I'm already getting myself into this, this comfort zone, even going out. And you like, I don't know. Man, that's interesting.
Try
That's
it. Try
interesting.
it.
Like
I
it
think
makes
life is too darn comfortable. Don't
yeah,
you? I mean, this year, we've complained about things, but overall, this is still probably the best time in history for humans to be alive,
yeah, absolutely.
especially in nations like the United States. And my wife's from Brazil, so I get a lot of interesting perspective on how good we have it here. Um, but I think sometimes you have to seek out discomfort nowadays
Man,
just to remind yourself.
man, that is awesome. I think because you just said something, and I'm telling you, I get in the shower every morning, and I'm like I say, I even touch the water to make sure it's the right temperature. But I'm listening to what you're saying. You just said something I just thought about. I'm like, cold water is not gonna kill me.
It's not.
Why am I? I mean, it's like I'm scared of it. It's like it's not
A
gonna
lot of
kill
people
me.
are.
So I'm really like, man, you know what? I'm I'm really feeling this. I'm
Yeah.
really feeling this, man. Because I mean, this makes a lot of sense. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a
Yeah,
shot.
you can ease into it too. You can start with kind of slightly cold, turn a little colder, and then finish warm. But yeah, I think it's great. I try it. Let me know how you feel. I bet you'll feel really good after.
I mean, you just said something that I mean that I'm sold on that. You said it won't kill you. So, and I know for sure cold water's not gonna kill me. So it's like it's not. I don't even need to. It's no sense of easing into it. It's just going at it, going
Yeah.
for it, going for it. Matter of fact, I like to live like that. I just just go for it. So
Yeah.
I mean I mean lead to greatness. He gave you examples. If you want to just go all in for it, if you just go for it. Just and if you want to adjust your way into it, to each his own, ease your way into it. But I'm going all in. I'm going all in because that's really that's. I'm not saying that's how I live, but that's what I'm trying to get to. I really want to get that in my mind, where it's like, man, if it, not being afraid to do it, and I'm still
Yeah.
working on myself, so I'm not on here trying to, I'm Mr. Perfect or nothing. No, I'm
Well, willpower is a muscle. It's got to be trained, and I think I also find that my willpower is, and this is through training thousands of people in a coaching setting too, in the physical realm, that willpower is definitely strongest in the morning and it gets weaker throughout the day. It fatigues. So if there's things that you need to get done, that you may put off throughout the day, then wake up 30 minutes earlier and get yourself in the right mindset, get it done. You just gotta.
wow. I'm telling you, this is the action step for me. I'm definitely gonna.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get the
I'm
email.
I'm,
Like,
I'm
man,
gonna.
that was cold.
Yeah, I'm gonna message you on that. I mean, I'm definitely gonna message you on and let you know what it. So yeah, definitely when this air, I'm definitely gonna message to you. But man, absolutely, I'm probably gonna message you in the morning. Because or sometime tomorrow,
Do
But
it.
yeah, this is awesome. This is awesome. I like it, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Good. You.
I love your swag, man. You're a cool guy. Cool guy.
Thank you. I appreciate you too, man.
Absolutely. If someone wanted to connect with you and what you're doing, where should they go?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So, probably the fastest place to find me is if you're on LinkedIn, Eric Malzone. I don't think there's too many of them. At least I think there's one other one in Brazil. But I'm
You're easy to
in
find.
Montana. Yeah, I'm in Montana. You can go to Level 5 Mentors, so LEVEL, number 5mentors.com. That's the site for me and my business partner Ken and Druko. And then you can check out my podcast. I got the Future of Fitness, and I have the Black Diamond podcast. And soon I'll be launching one. I haven't decided on the name, but it's going to be all about the science of recovery and coaching.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, pretty exciting stuff. I think those are the best places. I'm kind of over social media, but I'm trying to take a little bit of a diet from social media. So.
Okay. Wow. Man, it's awesome. Eric, I really definitely appreciate you on this interview today, adding value to the Lead to Greatness community. On behalf of the Lead to Greatness community, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and adding value to us.
Yeah, man, this has been my pleasure. Like I said, man, I have the tiger. What a great intro. You fired me up right away. So thanks for being such a wonderful host.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for being a wonderful guest, man. You're awesome. You're amazing. And more power to you for the future, man. It's great things in store for you in your life. It's been awesome. Leave a big thumbs up. And also, I want you to check out our Marriage Coach podcast, the podcast with my wife and I. If you're on iTunes, please rate this podcast and leave a review and help get the word out. Again, thank you, Lead to Greatness Nation, for joining us on today. Looking forward to seeing you again on next week. Till then, remember, if you help others reach their greatest potential, together we can change the world. Peace. We out.